We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Three Man Rush podcast. We missed you so much last week. We had a little, it was our bye week. So we took a bye week, and we are back now for your regularly scheduled programming. I'm your host, Landon Oliver, here with both of my two boys, co-host Andrew Scott and Big Jared Holly down there. What is up, fellas? Week 10 in the books. Week 9 in the books. We talked about week 9. Well, we didn't get to talk about the results of week 9.
Yeah, we previewed week 9. Made some money on the DFF show on week 9, and then took week 10 off. You know, just a little quick breather. So we didn't get to react to week 9. We didn't get to talk about what we thought would happen on week 10. And luckily for me, we didn't have a week 10 DFS show because my DFS lineups this week sucked. So, but hey, now we're back. And if you listen hard enough, you can still hear Taylor Heineke celebrating that bullshit call that he thought he'd get.
I forgot. Yeah, you are not happy about that last night.
I don't want to say not happy. I was annoyed. It rubbed me the wrong way to see he celebrated that flop harder than Justin Jefferson celebrated one of the greatest catches of all time, you know. And it's just like I don't think Aaron Donald even celebrated that hard whenever they won the fucking Super Bowl, man. And it's like I get it, it clinched the game and stuff, but like I don't know, man. I don't know.
I saw them celebrating. I saw them doing the Vikings celebration,
yeah, and they swagger jacked the Vikings. Like, come on, dude. Like, I guess I just don't like the Commanders. Apparently, is the conclusion I came to. I don't even really know why, but I guess I don't like the Commanders. I don't know.
I just look forward to the next team that Carson Wentz goes to and just fails miserably and falls into a cave because Taylor Heineke is going to be your quarterback moving forward. I have a feeling. I don't think they'll go back to Wentz at any point this year.
You know, I've been seeing that a lot.
I mean, how can they?
Okay, so you feel that way, and I have no problem with that. So I want to put this out there. I know I didn't really care for the whole jump up celebration because I just flopped and got a bullshit call and stuff like that. And I personally do not think Taylor Heineke's all that good, but I also don't think the Carson Wentz is all that good. But I've seen a lot of people say that it's clear they just cannot go back to Carson Wentz now.
Nope.
And I don't see why. If they don't want to, then that's fine. I don't think Carson Wentz is that good either. I don't think either one's the answer. But what are people seeing in Taylor Heineke that is just so set in stone, clear and cut that they have to move forward with him?
Can I answer this one?
That's the only thing.
Really an easy answer.
The only thing he really does better than Carson Wentz is he actually throws the ball to Terry McLaurin, which is a very smart thing to do because Terry McLaurin is great at the game of football.
Yes. The easy answer to this is he's likable.
He is more likable than, well.
The Washington Commanders are one of the most hated franchises in the NFL. They have the worst owner in the NFL.
I don't think Carson Wentz is an unlikable guy, though. I think he gets a bad rap.
The NFL community hates Carson Wentz.
No, the NFL fans hate Carson Wentz.
Which is the community.
I don't count that as a community. I count that as fans on the internet.
If you're a Commanders fan right now, the vast majority of Commanders fans,
I'll give you the real
Heineke over Carson Wentz right now.
No, I'd rather have Carson Wentz. Higher upside.
You would, but I'm talking about the vast majority of people. If you took a poll, all Commanders fans, they would take Heineke.
Oh yeah, because Heineke's the underdog. He's bounced around between 9 teams, and he couldn't even start for the Battlehawks in the XFL. He got beat out by Jordan Tamu in the XFL. It's which if all that shit happened in your career, you're probably not that good. It's just what it comes down to.
If you're worried about winning,
that's why you gotta resort to jumping up and throwing the first down shit for the thing, because that was his best contribution to that game was drawing that flag. He had 200 yards passing, and they had to run the ball 50 fucking times.
No, man. If you're worried about winning football games and possibly being
which he's what, 3-1 as a starter.
Well, yeah, the defense is.
Yeah, well, I know, we don't talk quarterback wins isn't a thing over here.
Yeah, but I'm saying the upside that Wentz provides you is a lot higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
he also cost you games too.
Did Wentz actually cost them games?
How many games did he cost for teams over the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, turnover wise, he can definitely do that to you.
That's my take. He's likable.
Well, I'll tell you why they won't go back to him, and it has nothing to do with anything on the field. It has to do with if he comes back from week 12 next week, he can be activated after this week and come back next week. If he comes back from week 12 and plays the rest of the season and starts every game, then that 3rd round pick that they currently owe the Colts becomes a 2nd round pick. And
that's right. That is a part of the trade.
Yes.
Yep.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Taylor Heineke's the starter the rest of the year.
Yeah, so you're probably saving massive draft capital.
Yeah. I mean that's worth enough to just start Taylor Heineke the rest of the year. Neither one of them.
And you're a darling at that point.
But what's funny is they're only like a game out of the wild card.
Yeah, they're in the mix right now.
They made the playoffs 2 years ago
with Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke almost beat Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Sure did.
Because the quarterbacks just play against each other.
That's 1 versus 1, baby.
1v1 for the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see it. I really it's just as far like taking emotion and the underdog and all that.
If you take emotion, if you literally take emotion out of it,
like taking all that shit out of it,
take fandom out of it.
Like I just based on emotion. We just
I saw it. I heard it. I heard it immediately after the game on the ESPN broadcast, and I heard it again this morning on a couple of different shows that people were proclaiming there is no way Washington can even think about going back to Wentz.
I don't think they can just because of the draft capital. But
that would be the biggest reason for me. But as far as on-field play goes, has he really separated himself from Wentz that much? Like,
I mean, the NFL's full of emotion, man. We had Sam Ehlinger over Matt Ryan for 2 years.
No, look, there's a different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and a coach got fired, in between all that, and then we got.
Whenever I'll tell you this is an old saying right here. Whenever you start thinking like the fans, you're going to be sitting next to them.
Yeah,
that's real right there.
Well, Jim Irsay is not going to sit next to the fans.
Well, he's the
owner. I don't think that was a Frank Reich call to set Matt Ryan.
I can promise you about 100% it was not. I can 100%, 1,000%, 1,000,000% guarantee you and tell you from a fact of knowing for certain that it was not. And
there you go.
Frank Reich did not want to bench Matt Ryan. And
I agree.
So, but regardless, look, the only reason, and like people have to understand this too, man, when it comes to Carson Wentz. And like, you know how I am, man. Like, that dude cost my team a playoff thing. But at the same time, like, this dude was only for 6-7 weeks into a brand new team with a brand new system with brand new weapons. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to give people time to adjust. Like, everybody's just so damn impatient about everything. Like, it's not just Carson Wentz, man. It is everything. Like, nobody has any patience. Like, this rookie, like Christian Watson this week. What do we heard all the way? Christian Watson's a bust. Packers bust. Bust.
Yeah,
Justin Fields is a bust. Justin Fields sucks. Christian Darrisaw is a huge fucking bust. Andrew Thomas is a huge bust.
It's different for a wide receiver opposed to a first-round draft pick. He was the number 1 pick, right?
Carson Wentz was 2 overall.
He was number 2 pick.
He should have been number 1.
Behind who, Andrew?
Behind Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, the better quarterback than Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
No.
In certain circumstances, I would agree.
No, I don't think so.
Carson Wentz is more talented than Jared Goff. That's 100% true. Jared Goff right now is you're not going to win games because of either of them. They can both lose you games technically. So,
yeah,
that's like who like.
Why are we protecting Carson Wentz?
Nobody's protecting him.
Well, you're saying like you give him a chance, like he's gonna learn the system. Like, I mean, like I don't know, man. I think for one, he's not coachable. So for him to learn the system, he has to want to learn the system. And I don't think he wants to.
Oh no, I mean he look, learning a playbook and being coachable are two completely different things. You can learn a playbook.
He's not coachable.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. He's not coachable as far as working on his mechanics.
Yeah, mechanics and his technique and things like that.
Yeah,
but
that
not the
has
same thing
nothing to do with him learning the playbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Two
that.
completely issues.
That's where Heineke has the leg up on him. Is he?
Yeah,
has
he's been
in
here
the
for
system
3
for-
years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the longest. This is the place he's stuck the longest in his career so far.
Well, he's made
I
enough.
don't mind Taylor Heineke. I don't have a problem with Taylor.
I'm not saying Heineke's their answer or anything like that.
I know the reality is
not
neither.
on the roster.
Neither one of
a
them.
better chance of
But
winning.
I think the upside that Carson Wentz gives you at the position far outweighs the upside that Taylor Heineke can give you.
Yeah, I mean, if we're getting this excited over a
Why would
200
even-
yard, if we're getting this excited over a 200 yard, no touchdown, 1 interception performance,
Yeah, like
that should probably tell you something about Heineke. If that's the performance that's got you like,
Yeah,
like
that-
I knew the bar for Wentz
that
was.
guy can't be benched.
I knew the guy for I knew the bar for Wentz was low, but like holy
200
shit,
yards and 1 interception. Like
that's the
Wentz-
performance that has everybody up in arms. Like, man, how can Washington possibly ever turn away from that? It's
you
like,
see,
I
here's
just
the
hope
thing,
somehow-
you can
talking
say what
about?
you want about
I
Carson
just
Wentz.
hope
Yeah.
somehow in the near future Carson Wentz is in Carolina so we can see the Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, and Sam Darnold battle for starting position of the
Man,
Carolina.
see, like here's the thing too with
that
Wentz.
that to me is like a
It's
wet
like
dream.
everybody, like he has the worst timing possible whenever he throws an interception. But to his credit, he does
No.
not throw a lot of them. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions.
he didn't last year. I mean, that was
That's
everybody's
just
calling
timing. It's
card.
bad
That
timing.
I
was
stand,
everybody's calling card for Wentz last year. Was that
I
touchdown?
stand
to
by,
interception
I stand
ratio.
by the dude has never been the same since Nick Foles won that Super Bowl. Like he's not.
Well, he's never been the same since he.
It was ever since that knee injury.
Yeah, since he tore that knee.
I think if the Eagles wouldn't have won that Super Bowl, I think Carson Wentz would be a lot more secure mentally as a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think that really wrecked him. I really do. I think it mentally drained him. I mean, you're talking about a guy that had potentially he was going to be MVP that year. He goes down.
I don't disagree with that.
There's a statue now outside of that stadium of Nick Foles.
That's one of the funniest statues I've ever heard
Colts
of in my
quarterback.
life.
To me, that is the most like
And Doug
what
Peterson.
do I do next scenario you can have as a starting quarterback in NFL. And he's
Nick,
never bounced back from that, man. Like,
we live in a
he came
world
back-
where Nick Foles has a statue outside of an NFL stadium. That's fucking wild, man.
Really special.
That's
go.
wild.
I think it truly wrecked Carson Wentz mentally. I don't think he's fully recovered from it. I really don't.
I haven't really fully recovered from the fact that the Eagles thought they should build a statue of Nick Foles.
They have one.
They sure do, man.
And Doug Peterson together.
And then they shit can Doug.
They should have named all 3 of them.
I don't understand, man.
I think they're okay with it right now.
Yeah,
Well, maybe not after last night. Maybe they're not.
they're
They'll
okay.
be fine. They'll be fine.
They're still.
Oh, I
they're
don't
still-
know, man. It's Philly fans. One loss, man. That's
No,
Sirianni's
they'll be
Sirianni's been awesome.
I like it. Sirianni, not Foles. But I like Foles too.
No, you already said it. You picked your side.
Sirianni. I like Nick. That's how
You're
I
a Wentz man.
Yeah, that's. I'm
Yeah,
not a Wentz fan. You know how I am, dude. I'm going to defend quarterbacks till I'm blue in the face.
You have a Wentz jersey.
I do have a Carson Wentz jersey.
Carson Wentz and Andre Johnson. You got to be like the only.
Landon has
Colts-
the most obscure Colts jerseys.
You
of them
got to
all.
be like the only Colts fan in the world that owns both those jerseys.
Yeah.
Only thing that's missing is a Trent Richardson jersey. You should have got that one.
Oh,
You would have had the trifecta.
Even I wasn't that stupid. Yeah, well, to be completely honest, Yeah, to
And
be
they're
completely honest, I was just broke back then, so I didn't want to spend $100 on a football jersey. I was trying to
Way to
eat.
tell people he's got an Andre Johnson jersey. They're like, oh yeah, he was a hell of a player of Houston. And he's like, yeah, with Houston.
He's still the AFC South.
He had 11 catches, I think, that year, didn't he? It was something like really bad.
What did Andre Johnson do that
It
year?
was bad, man. It was
Let's-
really.
Just so I can feel better about my purchase.
You should wear that next show.
You should. You
Behind me
should.
right now. Also, former Tennessee Titan Andre Johnson. Let's not forget that.
God, he did play for the Titans.
Oh,
If he would
look,
have played for the Jags, he was swept in the
that was better. 41 catches, 503 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
That's not too bad.
Now the Titans, on the other hand, 9 receptions for 85.
There it
yards.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I
That's
knew it
been
was
ruined.
Taylor. He had like a.
The
Colts didn't
Titans-
ruin him.
The Titans are truly where wide receivers go to die.
Unless you're Nick Westbrook at Keeney,
Yeah, that's it.
the GOAT.
Every time-
Moss,
every
we
time-
throw the
every-
Randy
like-
Moss Titans stats out there.
Whenever they have a good one, they trade him away.
Thank God.
It's crazy. Did you see before this past week that AJ Brown was outproducing the entire Titans wide receiver core?
I believe it.
One guy.
Which is crazy to me that that's even like possible because from what I was told in the offseason, they got AJ Brown just on a cheaper contract.
Well, to be fair, their version of AJ Brown has been on IR, so he hasn't had the chance to produce.
The greatest ability is availability.
I do think
like,
Treylon Burks was never going to be AJ Brown, but I do think Treylon Burks will be fine once he gets healthy and he gets on the field.
I know.
I think he will be a good player, but for anybody to think that he was just going to come in and just be AJ Brown, that's pretty
the
wild.
equivalent of Carson Wentz, where AJ Brown is Nick Foles. I mean, it's fair to say that.
So his career was ruined before it even started.
On this plan,
He had to live in AJ Brown's shadow.
Nick Foles is not that good either, but he did ruin Carson Wentz's career.
Carson Wentz ruined Carson Wentz's career. He's had plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, he has had more than enough. We spend too much time talking about Carson Wentz. we
18 minutes in. We haven't even touched on anything else. Look, let's get to the first game. Let's see what we got on the schedule.
Oh, hey, speaking of the Titans, we actually made a good transition though. We are professionals on this show.
Tennessee Titans.
This is the battle of wide receiver ones right here.
Yeah, Christian Watson versus Westbrook and Keeney, the two best receivers in the NFL, apparently.
Alan Lazard.
Alan Lazard's old news. He's old news, man. We're back on. We're on Christian Watson now.
6 pass attempts. That's the amazing stat too of the week is Aaron Rodgers had like right at 20 pass attempts and Christian Watson had 3 touchdowns.
And he almost had as many drops as he had touchdowns still. Like he still left plays out there on the field.
That's incredible.
I think he had 2 drops, I believe. So 2 drops, 3 touchdowns.
Yep, early in the game he dropped 2.
But
146 quarterbacks.
That their passing defense or their passing offense is going to have to be on their shit this week because the Titans' run defense is not near as giving as the Cowboys' run defense has been. They're pretty much polar opposites in that aspect to where, the Titans secondary has been playing a little bit better. That's still definitely where you're going to beat them. And so Rodgers and Watson and Lazard and Tunyon, like those guys are going to have to be on their shit this week because like I can't see. And Aaron Jones in the passing game too, obviously, he does not just contribute in the running game. But yeah, they're gonna have to beat Tennessee through the air because Tennessee don't really give up hardly anything on the ground. So it'll be really interesting to see because that Green Bay's offense kind of ran through. Like I know Watson had the 3 touchdowns, but they were running all over Dallas.
Tannehill should be back too.
Yeah, he was back this past week.
Well, yeah, I know, but he's like fully like off the injury report.
Yeah, he was off the injury report today. Yeah. Yeah, so he's back. He's back. So I actually think this is a kind of interesting game, honestly. Like this is probably one of the better Thursday night football games we've had this year, outside of the.
it's not.
Like it's not that bad. It's especially the Packers offense kind of woke up a little bit, and the Titans are playing well. So
Titans defensive line, man. Oof.
Oh, man.
they're legit, man. They're tough.
If you like boring football, that Denver Tennessee game was very boring.
Like bad offensive football.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. I know we're not talking about the Broncos right now, but I feel so bad for the Broncos defense. Like they legitimately might have the best defense in the NFL.
Close.
And it just doesn't matter.
You know the bad thing is too, it's been that way for the last 3 years. They're like
been that way since Peyton Manning left.
Their defense is all. I mean,
their defense has taken it to another level this year.
Yeah.
Like they haven't been like they're so good, and it doesn't matter because the offense can't score more than like 16, 17 points. It's crazy, man.
And it's actually too like I know everybody wants to put it on Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, like he shares some blame on it, but
yeah, that guy just can't hack it.
Well, I mean,
Russell Wilson looked bad.
Yeah, man, like they actually have a lot of plays that are there for the taking, and their quarterback is just not doing it.
I've never seen Russ look this inaccurate.
Man,
like it looks like they lost Jerry Jeudy too.
At least for a little bit, yeah. Which I'm not trying to give Russ a pass because he's been playing bad, but I truly think that he's still not and hasn't been 100% healthy. Like going back to the finger injury last year, and then the laundry list of injuries he's had since then. I don't think he's ever like taken the time to get fully healthy. He's trying to.
Then I mean, like unless his brain is injured too, man. Like
that's why I said I'm not trying to excuse him because he's still making bad choices. But like bad choices aside, once the football comes out of his hand, typically he used to be an accurate quarterback.
Just not the player. Yeah, that's true, man. That's true.
That's the hierarchy. That's the hierarchy of blame, right? Like whenever something goes wrong, a coach has to get fired.
It's always one guy.
Yeah, a coach like
your offensive coordinator gets booted.
You usually start with the coordinator. Like if the defense sucks, then the D coordinator's got to go. If the offense sucks, the offensive coordinator's got to go. And then if the team still continues to suck, then the head coach goes. And then maybe then we start talking about players underperforming. But we got to go through that tree first. We got to get through the blame tree for that to happen.
Yeah. It's frustrating, man.
Yeah. Who's the Broncos' backup quarterback? Is it Nick Foles?
You know who the Broncos could use a quarterback? They should look at trading for a guy like Geno Smith. I think they would be really good if they had Geno Smith at quarterback.
Jesus.
But I think Drew Lock could do this for $240 million cheaper.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Drew Lock could absolutely. A lot of money for.
So this game is not that entertaining because we're talking about the Broncos.
Yeah, we went on a Broncos tangent. It is what it is. I mean,
I like Derrick Henry, and I think
they should let Derrick Henry touch the ball as many times as he can handle it.
Man, Green Bay gets the run. It's just, I would never pass if I played the Packers.
There's no reason.
And I know, like.
He's not going to either.
I know, like analytically, like, if you say something like that, and like analytically on the internet, like I'm just immediately labeled as an idiot. Just like this guy will never pass and get the ball. Like you should never run the ball. Like the computers say this, but the computers say that Green Bay is like the word. Like I can't remember how many weeks ago now it was that we talked about it. Running the ball against Green Bay was the equivalent of, in like EPA, was the equivalent of letting Aaron Rodgers throw the ball.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, like that's how bad they are against the run. So yeah, I would probably just
feed Derrick Henry this week, as they should every week. I mean,
that's their engine right there.
Yep.
He had a bad game last week too.
He did.
He sold out a lot of people. I know there's
A lot of people have bad games against the Broncos, though, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that one.
One more thing to add on Denver, man, they're a fun punching bag. It seems like that. Can you imagine being Melvin Gordon? Here's a guy that they literally got rid of.
Here's a guy.
Now here's a guy. They get rid of him.
I should have slid in when he said that.
Javonte Williams gets hurt. They sign Latavius Murray. They just hate Melvin Gordon.
Well, no, they love Melvin Gordon when Javonte.
They only hate Melvin Gordon now that Javonte's gone. Like they couldn't wait to give Melvin Gordon half the touches whenever Javonte was healthy, and then Javonte goes down, and they're like, "Oh shit, we got to find another solution." Like it's so.
Melvin Gordon's not the guy.
Yeah, no, and he never was. But whenever Javonte was healthy, they were like, "No, we have to split the touches down the middle." Like it's
218 down.
Last year, they literally had the exact same amount of rushing attempts.
It was identical.
It's crazy, man. But yeah, so I got the Green Bay Packers in this game.
Really? I'll take the Titans.
I got the Titans.
Ooh, spicy.
Titans. Look at me. Look, this is growth right here, right?
Yeah.
I picked the Titans, 2-3 weeks in a row now?
I think so. This is a hot streak for you.
Man. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to hear a damn thing from any Titans fans saying that I'm biased.
Oh, you're still biased because you.
No, I mean I talk
just
shit
because
on
you
them.
throw a few pity picks. Don't change that.
That's not pity picks. I honestly believe they're going to win the game.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have a somewhat watchable.
They're a weird football team, man.
They're so weird
because they're not good,
but they're so well coached though.
There you go.
Because exactly. Like they're really strong in third downs.
Situational, any situational football.
Situational football, they are extremely strong in.
And you can't run against them.
Yeah, like they literally will sit back and wait for enough. Like,
I think
they're mistake.
If I remember correctly, they're a top 5 red zone defense too. If I remember correctly, they don't give up a lot of points.
That wouldn't surprise me if that was the case.
And I know at one point a few weeks ago they were like they were converting 92% of their red zone.
Yeah, their red zone offensive efficiency was off the charts.
Like it was like 20% better than Kansas City, who was
Derrick Henry. I mean, they get down there, it's automatic.
Well, Ryan Tannehill too.
Ryan Tannehill, he can bootleg.
Red zone. So, yeah, man, that's wow. All right, let's get to that. What do we have?
Do we have to talk about the?
What? Yeah, let's go.
Yes, I love this matchup.
I love one part of it.
I want to talk about this anyway. First off, let's let Andrew do it. Let's let Andrew talk about the Falcons for a second. Go through.
Can I talk my shit?
Can I talk my shit? Are we allowed to do Kanye verses anymore? Is that a thing?
He's canceled, isn't he?
He's definitely canceled.
He's been canceled in my mind for a long time just because his music's been trash. I don't really care about it all.
Anything after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy doesn't exist.
Look, okay, so let's talk about Marcus Mariota and why for some reason he is still the starting quarterback of an NFL team. All right. I'm gonna give you a couple numbers of the players with the highest percentage of off-target rates. Okay, so of the targets going to these players, the percentage of these targets.
These aren't quarterbacks; these are weapons, correct?
Right. Yeah. So these weapons, this percentage of their targets are deemed off-target, uncatchable targets. Right.
Boy.
At the top of the list, with 30% of his targets being uncatchable, is Kyle Pitts. Okay, number 1 on the list.
Not great, Bob.
And then you don't even have to go that far down the list to find another Atlanta Falcon. Let's see. We'll go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Drake London?
8th on the list, Drake London. Almost 20% of his targets off target. This offense is producing their 2 best weapons are in the top 8 of their percentage of targets being off target. And we're still just fucking rolling Marcus Mariota out because
we are.
Arthur Smith don't care about the numbers. He don't care about your fucking fantasy football team. All he cares about is winning football games, baby. That's all he cares about. And so we're just gonna keep.
I mean, that's not a wrong mindset.
No, it's not. But whenever you keep making stupid fucking decisions over and over, the statement means nothing. Like,
What did they lost this last week, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
to Carolina, the team that's like just dying to get the number 1 overall pick, but they can't because they got to play Atlanta. So, like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Why is Marcus Mariota is not your savior? He's not that guy, pal. So put him on the bench and put Desmond Ridder in there and at least find out if he's the guy or not. Like, what more is Marcus Mariota going to teach you? What more can Desmond Ridder possibly learn from Marcus Mariota by watching him constantly over? Kyle Pitts has the longest. Kyle Pitts. What?
There we go.
I don't know if Arthur Smith is the one that's doubting Desmond Ridder. I don't feel like that's a point in Desmond Ridder doubters' favor. I feel like if Arthur Smith doesn't like Desmond Ridder, that's probably a point for Desmond Ridder because
Desmond Ridder was my quarterback 1, by the way.
So
he was mine too.
They're no longer in first place.
Kyle Pitts has literally the longest fucking wingspan of a tight end in NFL history, and Mariota's still overthrowing him by 15 yards.
Let's see. What are we now?
Like,
what is this, week 11?
Yeah.
We're 10 weeks in. Why isn't Ridder, like, maybe Ridder has really just looked that bad in practice. Like, maybe he just really is bad. And yeah, so we can agree on that. Arthur Smith is definitely booty, but like we don't see what goes on in practice. Maybe Desmond Ridder is just out there looking awful in practice. I don't know, but I can't imagine it's any worse than what Mariota's given us on a weekly basis. So it's like you're 10 weeks in, you know that Mariota's not the guy. At least I would hope to God you know. Why not give Ridder a shot? Because like the Falcons could possibly be in a position to draft a quarterback, but they just drafted one. So we'll find out if he's the guy or not before you're in the position in the draft where you might or might not need to take a quarterback. Like, why are we still sitting on Mariota? What are we doing, man?
I think at this point, too, it makes the most sense to go to Ridder for multiple reasons. One, they're not in first place anymore. So the hopes and dreams that the Falcons somehow win that division are pretty much done, which we didn't think that was going to happen. Two, the fan base deserves better. I think it's not a Sam Ehlinger situation like the Colts pulled the trigger prematurely on bringing in Ehlinger as quarterback just because their owner is pissed off, and that's pretty much what Irsay is at this point. He's just mad to the point where he's hiring his best friend as a head coach. Anyways, that's coming up later, I'm sure. And then, but I think
you don't want to. That's bullshit.
That's actually coming up next.
We'll talk about it.
That's the next matchup. So
100% bullshit.
Okay. Anyways, at this point, what do you got to lose? I mean, there's absolutely nothing to lose. Like it can't hurt the situation. They're going to be playing for a draft. I don't think they're going to get the number 1 pick at this point. There's worse teams in the league. But you may have something with Ridder that you already know for a fact you don't have with Mariota. And at this point, this is a perfect time. He's got a home game against the Bears in a dome. Put him in, see what he's got. Can't do much worse. Mariota's pretty bad.
Well, and that was my argument a few weeks ago. Was they like 2 of their last 3 matchups have been against Carolina. So like, and they did have some tough games prior.
Fairly, in all fairness, they did win one of those games, and they were in first place. And at that point, you can't make that decision when you're in first place, even if it's a bad division and situation. And now that's not
the reason they won that game is because DJ Moore took his helmet off after he scored a touchdown. Like,
well, the only reason why Minnesota beat Buffalo is Josh Allen fumbled in the end zone. I mean,
if I'll have a Merry Christmas.
They still won the game. They were in first place. They're not in first place anymore. Tampa's won 2 straight.
I actually agree with you.
Gaining some steam. It's time. Like, this is the perfect week to do it at home, week 11. Let's go.
When's their bye? Have they already been on a bye week?
I don't think so.
When's their bye week?
Every week's a bye week when you got Arthur Smith.
I love that. That's great. When is their bye week? For real, though. When is their bye week?
I really don't know.
I think it's the following week.
Actually.
Let me go look at one of my 15. Let me go look at one of my 15 shares of Kyle Pitts and
fucking 10.
see what his schedule says on.
It's got to be next week. Yeah, they don't play again until the 20th, right? Oh no, it's got to be week. What is that? 13?
Their bye is in week 14.
Wow.
Oh,
So at that point, they would only have 4 games left on their schedule.
yeah.
Install the guy, yeah, like install the guy, get him first team reps during the after that with the bye week and everything. Like get him comfortable for through the bye week. I mean, you got 2 weeks of practice. Like that's what I would do.
So instead of playing him, so just so we're clear on this, instead of installing a game plan where you had Carolina on your schedule for 2 out of 3 matchups, you want to.
Carolina's still got a good defense, man.
The defense isn't bad, but they're still winnable games.
I'm not saying
they're games that they would be staying in. Like after their bye week, they got to play New Orleans defense, and then they got to play Baltimore. The first 2 games out of the bye week. It's like would you rather play 2 games against Carolina, or would you rather play Baltimore and New Orleans' defense?
I think this is the week. I think the Bears defense is not what it's not even
this week. But I will say
right now
they got the Commanders.
He gets the Bears and Commanders. These two.
The Commanders' defense is phenomenal.
The Bears' defense is not in
phenomenal.
Oh no, the Commanders. I think since week 2 or 3, they've got the number 4 ranked defense in football as far as points per game allowed.
They bend, they don't break.
Yeah,
their secondary is questionable, but their
even their secondary has been playing.
I think they get Chase Young back this week too.
Yeah,
that'd be a good.
They're a good fuck.
I don't know. To me, this is the
Steelers after that with TJ Watt back now.
You're coming off a bad loss to Carolina. It was a Thursday night game too, right? Or it was an island game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was too.
So you got a little bit extra time in the week. You're playing a home game. You're no longer in first place. You're playing a Bears defense that's not that great. Now it's time to pull the trigger.
I think if they were going to do it, now would be the time. But if they're not going to do it now, they need to wait till the bye week.
If they don't do it now, they're probably not going to play him at all.
I would agree that if they don't do it this week, they should just wait till the bye week to give them that extra time to prepare. But I hate they have such a late bye week. Just waiting, only you're going to evaluate if a guy's your future or not based off 4 weeks at the end of the season.
You can't.
Well, it's not just it's not just the 4 final games. They've had him there since the offseason and OTAs and rookie.
You've already had these arguments though. There's only so much you can learn from him getting practice reps with the second team and holding.
No, I agree with that. But at the same time, man, I thought he looked good in the preseason too. Honestly,
he did look good in the preseason. It's part of why I'm so fucking annoyed that he still hasn't gotten out there yet, man. We don't need to see any more Mariota. We're good. We're good.
I don't like starting rookies their rookie year. I know the league's changing, but
if your quarterback is not Marcus Mariota, then maybe you don't need to start a rookie. But if your quarterback's Marcus Mariota,
I do agree. At this point, you know what you are with Mariota.
Drew's got Kyle Pitts stakes in 15 different fantasy leagues.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is purely
It's not, bro. It's really not
driven from personal games.
No,
it's a little bit.
That absolutely is built into the equation for sure. But that's not the only thing, though. I want to see Ritter out there in the regular season, man.
I agree.
That's the bigger part of it. Is I'm also invested in Desmond Ritter. I've got takes out there floating around that I'm waiting to screen record and throw on the internet, man. I need him to come out and be great.
Yeah. Well, you might want to let him get a little more time to simmer.
I need Arthur Smith to get canned is what I need to happen. And then I need Arthur Smith to get canned, and then they bring in Desmond Ritter.
He's not going to get canned, man, because they've already overachieved.
Imagine the superpowers the Falcons would get if they got the quarterback change power up and they got the coach firing power up in the same week.
Super Saiyan.
That offense would be unstoppable for at least that 1 week. If they had those 2 boosts in the same week. Oh, look out, bro. Look out.
I don't know.
Arthur Smith's not going
It
anywhere.
doesn't matter because this week Marcus Mariota is going up against the most fun quarterback in the NFL to watch right now.
That's the take I want to get to.
And he's over the last 5 weeks, he is also the
Four
leading
records he's
rusher.
broken?
He's the leading rusher in the NFL over the last 4 weeks, I think is what it is, something like that. Leading rusher. Still,
Crazy.
there's still a couple throws he's made where I'm like, I don't do that, but man, he's balling, dude. And it's so much fun to watch. He's everything that I thought he would be whenever he was in that draft class coming into the league. Like,
Yep.
and look, I need to give the Bears some props because I was really hard on him just at the beginning of the year for like the first 2 or 3 weeks. I was really,
Rightfully so.
I was really well, and so
They earned that criticism.
I agree with that, but they also have earned some praise for how they've turned it around and how they've fixed this offense. So Justin Fields also deserves a ton of credit, which everybody on the internet is, for the most part, is giving him right now, as they should. Like he has earned that. But the Bears have done a great job learning and figuring out. It didn't seem like it was that hard to figure out, but it took them a few weeks. How to best use Justin Fields and put him in a position to succeed, and they're doing that. It sucks it's still not translating to wins, but I think that changes this week, though, because, they play the Falcons.
Yeah. There's somebody on here on this show that has staunchly defended Justin Fields through all the bullshit. They have released videos telling you why Justin Fields was still a good player and he wasn't a bust. I believe it is linked below on the YouTube channel. You can go watch it. Yeah, man, I don't know, it's vindicating. I saw everything people see now has been there. It's always been there. It's just utilized. And like Drew said, credit to Luke Getsy. They did a phenomenal job on self-scouting and realizing, what they had and what they weren't doing properly. And, it took them a few weeks, and, that is what it is. But, eventually they caved, and they were able to use him correctly. Yeah, he's good. What's fun too, man, like the most fun thing about it is just wait until they actually start to unleash his arm even more. Like, wait till he has weapons around him. Wait until he has like an offensive line that can block for him. Like,
yeah, that's key right there, man. Like that game against the Lions, I know they lost, but it was a very entertaining game, very fun game to watch. The play, not the long run for the touchdown he broke off, which is crazy impressive, 2 weeks in a row on that. But the play that really opened my eyes to Fields this year was how wide open Cole Kmet got because of the fear of him running. Cole Kmet was wide open on both his touchdowns of over 20 yards apiece because they were so scared of Justin Fields' legs that it opened up.
Changes. Yeah, it's the same reason why Lamar is so effective as a passer.
It was like there was a play with Lamar a couple weeks ago where he just rolled out to the right, and it was almost like a play action play because like they were so concerned about Lamar running, they just followed Lamar like they would follow a running back on a play action. Yep. Like the play action was just Lamar rolling out to the right, and Fields absolutely has that same effect on the defense.
There's only 2 guys in the league that can do what they do, and it affects. But like, what I was gonna say is like, just wait until he keeps developing. They have offensive line because people truly haven't seen yet just how great his arm is. Like, you were talking about a guy in college that was like super accurate whenever he was able to like not run for his life every play. Like I've heard the stuff since college. Like it's like the one read and run bullshit. Like it's bullshit. And the guy's smart.
Just because it's how Ohio State's offense is set up doesn't mean that that's all that Justin Fields is capable of.
Well, it's not even that too. I mean, like you're talking about like like I even hear it now in the NFL where it's like, well, he's still like one read and he takes off. It's because once he gets through one read, he's got guys already in his face and he has to take off. I mean, but his arm is so impressive. Like you're talking about, like this guy's got a fucking deep ball cannon. Like he has a cannon, and just wait until they unlock that. Like wait until he gets some weapons. Wait until he's able to get through his reads. Because what I said too in like that video that I put out, what was it, like a month or 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago now, is while he's developing those pocket passer skills, you can utilize him in other ways to play to his strengths. And the biggest thing for a young quarterback, which is why I've always kind of been a little like against starting them as rookies, is because as we see, like confidence can make or break younger guys like that. Like they literally do. Like we've seen them losing and we see him not being used correctly. And it was like shattering his confidence. Like, and you've seen every week now since they've been able to get him on the run, like that confidence grow every week to where he knows mentally, he's like, I belong in this league now. Like,
oh yeah,
I play in this league and I can make plays. Like I can make guys miss. And you see that confidence now every week going forward get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's only going to get better from here for Bears fans. Like,
yeah, I'm happy for Bears fans.
You've got the guy. You've got the guy.
Finally, yes, they have a quarterback.
No, you still got to hit on the picks to build around him. Like this isn't one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, you got 120 million in cap space. You've got all these draft picks. Like that's great. I mean, you can't whiff on him. You can't surround the dude with shit and expect him to be a savior all the time. But
I think they're gonna do a better job, man. I really do. I feel like
I like Colts. I like the
more
Claypool move. I like the Claypool, and I wasn't necessarily a Claypool fan. I'm not a fan of that, but I think
it gives him a threat, and it's opened up.
It's something different that they didn't have.
It's a hell of a lot better than throwing deep balls to Ikenemi.
Equanimeous St. Brown. Yeah, well, I mean, like he can be like a
Dante Pettis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I love too now seeing Cole Kmet go off because I love that guy too. So.
I was a big Cole Kmet fan this preseason.
Yeah, I was this week. I was a big Cole Kmet fan.
It's nice to see him. Nice to see them two getting on the same page and that starting to pay off finally.
Yeah,
feels good.
I played. Not only did I play Cole Kmet in DFS last week, Drew and Landon, but I also have Mark Andrews on a bye injured, and I played Cole Kmet in our sleeper league. Picked him up.
Nice.
And he won that week for me too because everyone else.
I know. Me and Drew caught a lot of shit during draft season for how high we had Justin Fields ranked, and there was a lot of times that, like for me personally, I had him like neck and neck, and sometimes even above where I had Trevor Lawrence. Like everybody,
I never had him above Trevor Lawrence, but
everybody saw this like generational guy with Trevor Lawrence, and I thought Trevor Lawrence was good. I didn't like. You had people talking about Andrew Luck and John Elway, and like, no, like I didn't see that. But he's like, I mean, he's very good player, and even like last week, I mean, Trevor Lawrence still makes throws just about every week, and I'm just like, God damn, man, like if that guy ever fully gets tapped into, like, whoa.
Well, not in real
trouble,
teams, but. I know at the beginning of the year, everyone was on Trey Lance, and obviously he got hurt, so we really don't know what the what would have been with that. But personally, I like Justin Fields more than I like Trey Lance for even just fantasy. Like I felt like Fields was, but everybody was on Trey Lance's just in the offseason, man. Like that was a golden goose.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do too because he has Kyle Shanahan as a coach. He has Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and. Trent Williams blocking for him. I mean, the situations are entirely.
There was more on tape with Justin Fields is kind of what I'm getting at. And I think now they're playing to his strengths. They're going back and like looking at what worked for him in college and kind of incorporating into the more like the game flow of the NFL. Where at the beginning of the year, they weren't. They were running the ball 150 times a game. Like they wouldn't even like. I mean, there was one week he had 12 passing attempts. I think it was. Like it was just ridiculous.
Now Khalil Herbert's on IR, unfortunately. So
yeah, it doesn't matter. Their best running back is also their quarterback.
Yeah, and they're going to utilize his legs, and they'll still use David Montgomery. I mean, David Montgomery's going to basically get him.
This is that
Yeah,
late season
he's
David
been
Montgomery
fine.
bump.
Yeah, Montgomery's been fine since he came back from injury.
Bears. There's a lot of good things with the Bears right now. And the Lions, 2 weeks in a row, man. They beat divisional teams.
I like it.
So.
All right, let's pick this game here. I'm gonna go.
You want to take the Falcons?
I do want to take. I'm gonna take the Falcons.
I will take the Chicago Bears.
I will never take the Falcons. I'm taking the Bears. All right.
All right.
The moment you two have been waiting for. I'm gonna sit back and let you guys duke this one out.
There's nothing to duke out.
No, I mean maybe not with the game itself, but with some of the conversations that go along with the game, it sounds like there just might be. Because the Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Indianapolis Colts, led by interim head coach Jeff Saturday, who is
before
1-0
before you
as
go
the head
further,
coach.
can you what word came before head coach? What did you use?
Oh, he is the interim head coach.
Okay, let's get that clear first.
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, he is the interim head coach. Yes. For the remainder of this season, he is the guy that is trying to hold everything together to make it to next season.
8 weeks, right?
Maybe longer if he coaches.
Maybe,
himself
yeah, we'll
into
cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah,
8
but
weeks.
for now, he is the interim head coach for the rest of this season, who
Okay,
is also 1-0.
1-0. Undefeated.
But now he gets to play the Philadelphia Eagles. So before we get into Jeff Saturday,
go ahead.
I just want to say before we get into Jeff Saturday, the big thing for me in this game is that, to me, what I saw last night in the Eagles Commanders game is that the Eagles run defense is clearly much worse with Jordan Davis off the field, and he's still on IR. So
man, those A-gap runs were eating them up.
So Jonathan Taylor needs to be fed some more. And I know you guys will. I know that you'll touch on this in a little bit, but I don't think it's much of a coincidence that for the pieces of the Colts game I did watch,
how about that offensive line?
That offensive line looked better than it had all year. Which, whenever you bring in Jeff Saturday to be your coach, I don't think that is much of a coincidence. So. Well, if the Colts do want to try to win this game,
I don't understand why it would be though. Like what? Like, I mean, yeah, is he all pro offensive lineman, Ring of Honor, multiple Pro Bowler, played offensive line, and has been around this league for what? Almost 2 decades now.
Highest winning percentage by a head coach in Indianapolis Colts history.
Yeah, we can gloss over all the accolades and all the, how great of a player he was and how he clearly knows what it takes to be a head coach. And what was the word that you used, Jared? Jim Irsay's best friend, I believe is what you called him. That's why he got hired, because he's his best friend, not because any of the other stuff, right?
I mean, he has no coaching history whatsoever outside of high school football.
Okay. No, I mean, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with that.
Here's my big problem. Okay. Hear me out.
Hold on.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You want me to go ahead?
Go ahead.
Here's my problem. It's not Jeff Saturday. I like Jeff Saturday. I'm a Colts fan. Like, honestly, I love Jeff Saturday. He was on the best years of the Colts. Like, my fandom. Jeff Saturday was our center. My problem is this, man. Frank Wright should have been fired. I have no problems with him going a separate direction. I felt like because of last year and the situation with Frank Wright and how the season ended, that was not a good taste. The way the season began this year was not a good taste. Here's my issue. Jeff Saturday comes in. Literally, we all know that Frank Wright did not bench Matt Ryan, correct?
Correct.
We're all on the same page with that.
Correct.
Jeff Saturday comes in. Who's your starting quarterback on Sunday?
Am I right? So your problem's with the owner.
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
To
That's
me,
fine.
like
Issue with that.
Jim Irsay is a walking time bomb. Like we don't know what to get, what you're going to get with Jim Irsay. It used to be Jim Irsay, like he cared about winning. I don't even know if it's about that anymore. I think it's about
No, he
ego.
still cares
And
about winning.
I don't know if it's all about winning anymore, man. I think it's more about ego. Literally, like he hired Jeff Saturday, who they are friends. They are. I mean, let's face it.
He's friends with all those guys. He didn't go out and hire Tariq Glenn. He didn't go out and hire. I mean, they have Reggie Wayne. They hired Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne was already a member of the staff, correct?
No, this year.
Yeah. Yes, he was a member of their staff this year, though, right?
Yes. Like he was just hired like what, a few months ago? Like so because he beat Jeff Saturday by a few months?
No, my what I'm getting at, Landon, is Jeff Saturday has no head coaching experience whatsoever. They didn't look at anybody internally whatsoever. They just went straight to Jeff Saturday. He literally picked up the call and was like, you know what? I miss Jeff. I'm going to give him a call and see if he wants to be our head coach.
No.
That's literally what happened. There's no way this has been talked about for months and months and months.
That's not what happened at all. That's not what happened at
all. Look, and then for the guy.
Look, okay.
Frank Wright, they benched Matt Ryan. If Jim Irsay truly cares about winning, why in the world would they have benched Matt Ryan for Sam Ellinger?
Well, first off, Matt Ryan had a separated shoulder for 2 weeks, by the way. So,
for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He magically healed within like 15 minutes before Sunday's kickoff. And they put him in and started.
Yeah, he's been practicing since Wednesday. Was his first day back in practice? So he practiced 2 days and then he played.
My point is Jeff Saturday went to Jim Irsay and said, I want to start Matt Ryan. He's like, okay. But if Frank Wright really did that, it would not have happened.
I don't disagree with that. I don't have a problem. So your problem is with the owner firing Reich and not letting him play his quarterback that he wanted.
Correct. He's not allowing. He's becoming.
Then can we get off the subject of Jeff Saturday just being hired because he's his buddy? Because that's not true.
I mean, he's literally becoming Jerry Jones right before your eyes. You realize that, right?
I've spoken on the Jim Irsay thing multiple times now. But I'll give him credit for this. The guy knows what it takes to have. I mean, he's been around successful people in the industry for basically his entire life. He knows what makes a good head coach. He knows what makes a good quarterback. Like, I mean, like the guy's not an idiot. Like, yeah, he's eccentric and he's wild and he's off the wall. And you start talking to him and he'll get into like fucking Mars and bullshit like that. But I mean, like underneath all the bullshit, if you can sort through it, he knows what he's talking about. And the biggest thing for a head coach is what? The ability to lead men and inspire not only your players, but your coaches in the building to execute at a high level. That's it. It has nothing to do with like, yeah, is it great if they're good play callers? Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic thing. Do you have to be a great play caller to be a good head coach? No.
Mike Tomlin is living, breathing proof of that.
So is Mike Vrabel. Like Mike Vrabel as a defensive coordinator was not good in Houston. And even whenever Mike Vrabel called the plays in Tennessee, they did not have a good defense until he let somebody else take over play calling duties and focused on being a leader of men.
Did they interview anyone before the decision was made?
Well, it's an interim head coaching job. Who would you interview? There's no candidates available.
Right. But they didn't have anybody.
It's an interim job, Jerry.
They had nobody on their staff currently that they could have filled into that role.
So if you agree that everything was so bad under Frank Reich and the offense was so terrible under Frank Reich, why are you going to give the people that he hired a head coaching job?
Because they're already with the organization. You just brought up the fact earlier of a quarterback with Taylor Heineke, like he knew the offense, which gave him an advantage over Carson Wentz. But you're going to hire a guy off the streets that doesn't.
So is the guy calling the plays right now? Is he not familiar? Is Jeff Saturday calling plays?
I would doubt it. I highly doubt he's calling plays.
You don't even know if they're calling plays, right?
I highly doubt he's calling plays.
He's not calling plays. Parks Frazier is the offensive coordinator.
I highly doubt he's really doing anything outside of being a motivational piece for that team.
Well, I mean, I disagree there too. He's made some changes. I mean, like,
yeah, quarterback. That was the number one change.
Well, no, it's more than that. Game plan wise, I mean, like, look, actually, good opportunity for me to plug my stuff here. If you go down to my Twitter, I did a full game breakdown of what the changes were, including simplifying offensive blocking schemes, going from multiple traps and wham blocks to very power, man heavy blocks, double teams, center guard combo blocks. Basically, Jeff Saturday came in and said, okay, what is going on here? Why are we not executing at this level or at, an acceptable level for where we're at? They went through and looked at everything. Dude, they're failing. They were failing on basic day one shit. So then why are we continuing to trot out Matt Pryor? Why are we continuing to trot out these complex blocking schemes when these guys are clearly not performing at it? So what he did, did he bench Matt Pryor? Possibly. I mean, obviously it's the offensive line coach's decision more than likely, but he probably decided to bench him. So you've got now a left tackle in that they drafted. You have a right guard in that's not Matt Pryor, which is automatically addition by subtraction. And then you simplified everything. You simplified blocking schemes. You simplified thinking. Like, guys can't execute whenever they're constantly overthinking everything, which is part of the biggest issue with the Colts is everything was just so complex. He came in and just dumbed it down. Like, a lot of the stuff they ran, it was like day one, like they ran high school plays.
Because he's a high school coach.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
That was good.
Yeah,
you got to set him up for that.
And I'm not, dude. I hope the guy. Trust me, I love the fact I have nothing against Jeff Saturday whatsoever.
It's nothing to do with Jeff Saturday.
No, it's more on the owner. That's where a lot of my issues with this team is, and it's before this move right here. It was last year with the plane incident. It's erratic, and maybe Jeff Saturday will be.
He's making emotional decisions.
Yes, but that's not how you advance a team, and it's to the.
I agree.
And maybe Jeff Saturday is the balance. Maybe he is the zen that brings them together. And like you said, like you do have to dumb down things to an extent, especially like if you're not like
if you're not performing, you go back to the basics.
I agree with you 100% on that, but
it's not like he just.
The point I'm trying to make is like I'm worried about this franchise moving forward with an owner that just makes decisions on the fly. And that's what
I think at the same time, and I'll tell you this too, and this is from people I've talked to, he has seen things go from bad to worse as things have progressed since last year. Correct.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So does he trust the same staff that were causing these issues? Why is he going to promote them to head coach whenever you are part of the problem? That doesn't make any sense. Why are you going to allow other guys to make decisions whenever they are part of the problem? You've seen this go from bad to worse.
That's definitely a fair assessment.
He wanted to bring in somebody that he trusts, that he knows has the football acumen to know what the fuck is going on and is able to there's no better position to find out what is going wrong than the head coach, even more than the GM. The head coach controls so much more than what people even realize. There's no better position for somebody to step in and find out everything going on, from the equipment room to the cafeteria to the practice schedule to the medical staff to the players, like in the locker room. Like the GM's not in the locker room. Like they don't like what's going on with the installs, what's going on, just day-to-day stuff. The head coach knows it all. And there's no better person to bring in than somebody, one, has the football acumen, has the leadership skills, has the ability. I mean, like, everybody's acting like they just hired this. Like, I'm so sick of seeing the fucking TV analyst shit. Oh, they hired a TV analyst to come in. Motherfucker, look at the resume that guy's put. While these people were going through broadcasting school or, whatever else, this guy was in the trenches. He's a multi-time all-pro player. Played with Peyton Manning. Do people not understand the center position and what it evolves? Outside of maybe the quarterback, that guy has to know everything that goes along on offense and defense. He has to know what the protection calls are, what the line, he has to know just as much as the quarterback does. Every center in the league outside of your quarterback has to be the smartest guy on the field. Because that's the only other guy outside of the quarterback that is reading the defense pre-snap and getting the calls in. And you see it a lot even with younger quarterbacks where your center's the one making those calls and getting them into the proper stuff. So let's not sit here and act like this guy was just fucking hired because he's, what did Joe Thomas call him, his drinking buddy?
That was
it's a fucking horse shit. Like, that shit pisses me off so much. You're talking about a guy, I mean,
I just
by the way, real quick, before you move on from Joe Thomas, because I don't want to let that off the hook.
okay.
Joe Thomas gave a lot of shit for them hiring Jeff Saturday about him being unqualified and blah 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 blah. And just a couple years ago,
I was gonna say
he was on the Pat McAfee show talking about how he was throwing his hat in the ring to be the head coach for the Cleveland Browns. So I mean, what is it? Were you just more qualified than other candidates for the Browns? Like,
and not only only about this, but like, look at like the Bill Cowher stuff now, like, because that's my biggest problem with coaching. And like, I have so much respect for these coaches, even for Joe Thomas as a player and Bill Cowher. Like, I really,
as a player was great.
I really do. I really do have
respect
respect
on TV is
but,
trash.
But if you look, like, and this is what I have an issue with, is like, it is such an old boys club. If you're not in that club, people think it's so disrespectful that nobody else. Gus Bradley's had multiple chances. What Gus Bradley do as a head coach? Nothing. You gotta promote him. John Fox has had multiple chances as a head coach, and outside of having Peyton fucking Manning, what has he done?
Shit.
So then, why is it such a big fucking deal that maybe we take a look outside of the old boys club and take a step outside of the box and think outside of the box and go, hey, I've been in the trench. I've watched this guy from day one be in the trenches. And I'm not saying that as an offensive lineman. I'm just saying he's been in locker rooms. He's been the leader in those locker rooms.
Even more than an average player.
Yeah. I mean, and we're not talking about just some dude off the street like some Joe Blow.
He wasn't a role player.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, this isn't just like some undrafted free. I mean, he was an undrafted free agent, by the way, who worked his way into what he is. So he's a guy you trust. He's a guy that's able to lead men. And you saw it this week. And I know it's the fucking Raiders. And I'm so sick of hearing that shit too. Because, the Raiders are suck. The Colts are a bad fucking football team. What are you talking about? Yeah. The Colts suck too. They just fired their coach.
It ain't like the Colts blew them out or nothing either. They had to come back and win that game. It was.
Yeah, but they didn't fold. That's the thing.
Correct.
Like they didn't fold. And what was great about it too is you see, if you go and watch the game, you see after like every sideline shot, guys were coming off the field. Where was Jeff Saturday? He was talking to them and going over, like he was coaching them on the sideline, like, hey, I saw this, come over here. Maybe we change this up. And they went out there and they won the fucking game. And they put up their second most points of the season, by the way. And he was in the install, the offensive part of the game, 80% of the week last week. He was barely even on the defensive side of the ball.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm so like, and not only this too, because now you get to this is gonna be my last thing.
Not with Jeff Saturday, man. I think Jeff Saturday, like any
but even the Jim Irsay thing, like I agree,
Irsay for a head coaching position in the NFL.
I defend Frank.
He's got the football mind to do it. My issue is like how erratic that organization is right now, and how like sensitive and emotional they are to make decisions. Like, it's really on the fly.
Why shouldn't they be? Tell me why they shouldn't have been. Should they have just
You're
gone
an NFL
along?
franchise, and you have to like think long
They're
term.
a losing
They're
NFL franchise. They are a
literally
losing.
getting dinosaurs at quarterback and actually build for the future. Like you're literally like since the Andrew Luck situation, they have just folded at quarterback. They went after Phillip Rivers for a 1-year deal, basically. He retires. They go after Carson Wentz, who is a shell of himself, who is like literally defeated.
Okay, now who did that? Was that the owner?
That was Frank Wright. That was
Is he
Frank Wright
there?
who wanted Carson Wentz.
Is he there?
No. So they go out and get Matt Ryan.
Problem
But
solved,
Frank Wright
guys.
wanted to keep Carson Wentz, correct?
Huh?
Frank Wright wanted to keep Carson Wentz, correct?
Correct. Should they have done
They
that?
go out and get Matt Ryan, who is even less athletic as Carson Wentz.
I
With
don't
a
know.
bad
That 40-yard run.
saw
I don't know. You saw that run. Hey. He's
That's
shooting down that field.
yeah. He looked
No,
electric.
but that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like it's not like Irsay was the one that was just like, let's go get Matt Ryan. Like they saw him become available, and yet like Irsay does have a role in benching. Like I will agree. He benched Matt Ryan. He moved on
He
from
sure
Carson.
did.
Like
He sure did.
and like, I get that. I totally get that argument. But we're acting like like he's thinking irrationally and out like he's not doing anything. Whenever he is set back and let Chris Ballard make decisions on quarterback. He is set back and let Frank Reich make decisions on quarterback. And where has that gotten this franchise? Tell me where they're at right now.
When the
They're a
Dallas
bad team.
Cowboys, when the Dallas Cowboys,
So then
were
at that
winning
point,
Super Bowls,
Frank Reich's
when
gone. He
the
fucks up.
Dallas
He's gone.
Cowboys were winning Super Bowls, who was running the helm? It was not Jerry Jones. He was the owner, but he was allowing the coaches to make decisions. Correct?
And he did he not allow Frank Reich to pick Carson Wentz?
He's got to allow the coaches to choose the right players, man. You can't just be emotional based off of one.
He let them do that.
No, he didn't.
Jared,
He's literally benching
Chris
a guy,
Ballard
and
wanted
then the
to
moment
go
he
get
brings someone else in after firing, they start a guy
listen,
again. Like
listen.
that makes no sense.
Listen to me. Chris Ballard wanted to go get Justin Fields.
Okay.
Okay. Frank Reich convinced Jim Irsay that Carson Wentz was his guy, no matter what. Carson Wentz was his guy. He could make it work.
And
Jim
Frank
Irsay
Reich's
said,
smart.
okay, I trust you. Go get your guy. This is the guy you're on the table for. Go get your guy. He let him make that decision.
I understand that, and I
Then
totally
where are
get
you coming in that he needs to let the coaches make their decisions on the players? Because he did. And you know what happened to this franchise? It fucking fell apart.
Well, now it's a franchise where literally they're hiring whoever just in any
It's not
position,
just
and they're making.
Who are you hiring? Who are you promoting from this staff? Who's your head coach? That all right?
A
That's
guy off the streets with no
okay? That's fine. You don't hire Jeff Saturday. Hypothetically, you're making the decisions. Who's your head coach once Frank Reich's fired?
I mean, you go internal. You look and see what you have. Like
So the same people that are still fucking up.
This season's over. It's over.
They're one game out of the wild card.
They're not making the playoffs, and we know that.
They're one game out of the wild card.
Over. The season is over.
Oh, man, you poor guys.
Not the Jim Irsay.
Huh?
I'm not disagreeing. Like logically thinking, they're still trying to win football games, man. They're not throwing in the towel. They're still out there to win fucking football games. And that's like this week is fine. If you wanted to tank, which for one doesn't really exist, by the way.
The text message I got from you when they hired Jeff Saturday was what?
Oh shit, I don't know. What was it?
Tank season.
I never said tank season.
You didn't?
Let's pull it up.
Because I can recall your message said tank season the moment Jeff Saturday news came out.
I know that was my first reaction. And then I'll say I'm not a Colts fan. So
I know you said tank season.
No.
About tanking.
I'm not a Colts fan, so I'm not as
maybe it was Drew. I know it was in our club.
I'm not as emotionally invested as you guys. But that was my initial reaction, was like, oh yeah, they really are going for a tankathon here. And
yeah,
then
that was
later,
Andrew. All I said was Reich's fired. Andrew said Jeff Saturday tank mode is on, and I put the picture of Jim Irsay holding sausages up because making sausage. He doesn't know how to make sausage. But he knows how to build a football team.
So my reaction, or like I was more concerned with the press conference that they had than the actual hiring itself.
You gotta get through
the word vomit that was coming from both Irsay and it was Irsay and Chris Ballard too. Some of the word vomit that was coming out was really alarming.
Ballard's a dead man
and then Jeff Saturday was just sitting there quiet as could be. But I'll say this though, number one, I am glad they didn't just go through the coaching carousel and give somebody the interim job that's already shown that they can't cut it as a head coach in the NFL, because there's enough of that going on as it is. Whenever teams need new head coaches in the offseason, and the same coaches just keep getting hired over and over just to suck somewhere else.
Right.
That is exhausting. And so I was glad to see that they went a different route of that. And I don't know a lot about Jeff Saturday as a person because I'm not a Colts fan, but the small exposure I have of him is it does seem like he is a really smart and really what's the right? He's a very level-headed person that seems like he would be a great leader for whatever you want to do. Leader of your high school team, leader of your YMCA basketball team, and anything doesn't matter. The dude seems like he's a natural born leader.
Look at how much fucking NFL experience Josh McDaniels had.
And so like
he'll be with the Patriots anyway.
Yeah.
And
moneymaker.
Even talking about the analyst thing, Aaron Boone went straight from being a player to being a TV analyst to being the head coach of the fucking New York Yankees.
That happens often.
Steve Kerr was an analyst.
That happens more frequently in baseball than any other sport.
Why not bring it to football?
It happens in basketball too. Steve Kerr never coached a damn game whenever he was hired as the Warriors head coach.
Chauncey Billups
never coached Chauncey Billups. So if all these other people
why not bring it to football?
Yeah, and not only this, but if it does, say for whatever reason, say it does work.
That's going to open the door for so many other people.
So many people that instead of starting out when they're 20 years old and they're parking cars.
And that's another argument against Jeff Saturday that I don't like. I get that he's never been a head coach, or never been a positional coach, which he did. He's turned down positional coaching jobs. I did read something about that. Like he could have been a positional coach for the Colts already, but he turned it down.
Well, more than the Colts, other people
and other teams as well. He said himself on the Pat McAfee show, other teams reached out, but. Like he didn't go through the ranks. He wasn't sleeping on somebody's couch and blah 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 blah.
Parking cars and getting coffee.
But he didn't.
You know what he was doing?
He didn't do all that because he was fucking playing in the NFL. Like so, like that's the argument that people try to poke holes in Jeff Saturday that I don't like.
It makes no sense.
He didn't work his way up through the ranks, and he wasn't an assistant's assistant and an assistant's assistant and blah 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 blah. And he didn't do this and that. Yeah, he didn't do that because he was too fucking busy being an all-pro in the NFL. And the years where he would typically be working his way up the ranks,
the coaching ladder,
he was playing at a high level. So it's
guys, just keep in mind when Brandon Staley gets fired, Philip Rivers has got 2 years now high school football coaching experience, and he'll be the new coach for the Chargers.
You know who would be a damn good head coach?
Philip Rivers would probably be a pretty good coach.
And you know who would be a damn good head coach?
The NFL is evolving.
Rivers would.
I would not.
I'd follow Philip Rivers into a burning building.
I would not put it past Philip Rivers to be a. I would not put it past Philip Rivers to be a coach. I really wouldn't.
He should be. He's fantastic.
He already is. He's a high school coach right now.
I could 100% seen him being an NFL coach.
I can tell you right now, Philip Rivers as a high school coach, 100% is a better head coach than at least 5 people off the top of my head who are head coaches in the NFL right
Maybe it's just the quality of head coaches are really bad. But
It's not about
do.
it's the quality of men.
I stand by my statements of Ursay, man. It's alarming. There's things that are kind of alarming to me. And
I
feel like the last 2 years, man, he's been very much more erratic. I don't think he's ever been.
You mean whenever he puts more and more money into the franchise and it continues to get worse and worse, he gets angry? No, yeah.
Well, I think Ballard's a lot of the problems too.
Yeah, and guess what? Ballard's going to be gone at the end of the season.
We'll see.
Oh, it ain't
it is funny.
Should be. I mean,
look, so I'll say this to Jared's point. It was only just a few weeks ago that Ursay came out publicly and said, "There's no way that Frank's job is in danger. Frank is as safe gets, man." And then, bam, shit canned. And then but no, there's no way Chris Ballard's going anywhere, dude.
He's erratic. He's feeling heat. He's feeling heat for the 2 bad quarterback choices.
And Sam Ellinger.
It would have been 3 if Phillip Rivers. I mean, Phillip Rivers got into the playoffs and made him competitive.
Phillip Rivers is fucking awesome.
But
he got lucky on that one though, because he was at the tail end of his career too, like these 2 guys that we had the last 2 years.
This is another
thing. Did Jim Irsay make those decisions, or did he empower his head coach?
He empowered that, but at the end of the day, he's given.
But this decision that I'm about to bring up, he did make, at least from what I'm hearing between you guys. I think the Sam Ellinger thing, that was probably Irsay, right?
That was Irsay, no doubt.
Okay, and it wasn't Sam Ellinger's our quarterback until Matt Ryan gets healthy. They were very adamant. Sam Ellinger is our quarterback for the rest of the season.
Yes. And then the moment Jeff Saturday is their head coach, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan's back in the game.
So
that's erratic. That is the definition of erratic and going off of pure emotion.
Another thing that Jeff Saturday, I gained a lot of I didn't have the connections to Jeff Saturday that you guys did from his playing days because I wasn't a Colts fan. But if you guys haven't listened to it, I would highly encourage you to go to the Pat McAfee show on YouTube, go to the Monday episode from this week, and just go to the part where they
you can look up Jeff Saturday interview and they have the interview.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, go back to the Monday show, or and then Pat McAfee, they typically cut out, like they'll chop up the episode into individual parts. So I guess they probably have the interview by itself.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have you don't have to go to the Monday episode. You can actually
but it was on the Monday episode. If you haven't listened to it, I would highly suggest you do so, because it was Jeff laid a lot of really good stuff out there.
And Pat eviscerated Joe Thomas.
But
good.
He said on there that Wednesday at practice he was watching Matt Ryan throw the ball, and he was like, "Is this normal?" And they're like, "Well, whenever he's healthy, but he hasn't been healthy. But like this is how Matt typically looks in practice when he's healthy." And so then he was like,
"We're starting this.
I want to start Matt. Like, he looks good." But it's like, you can't come out as an owner and be like, "This rookie he's our guy.
Unproven.
The rest of the year, no matter what, this is our guy." I did think going back to Matt Ryan was the right choice. Like,
absolutely,
I do.
If they want to win ball games, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't, like, why the hell are you coming out and saying, "Oh, Sam Ellinger, he's the guy the rest of the year"? Why? What was the purpose of that? What was the need of that? Why? Why not just be like, "Yeah, Matt Ryan's hurt, so Sam Ellinger is our starter moving forward"?
Okay, because
what's wrong with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, it's just poor choice of word. Which, to begin with, Frank's the one that said it. It wasn't Jim Irsay.
But where do you think that statement came from?
I know. No,
you really think Frank Wright was dying to name Sam the starter for the rest of the year?
Frank wanted to keep Matt Ryan. I'm 100%.
So the statement is
just like, so this was the thinking at the time, was because the offensive line was performing the way it was. Matt Ryan was hurt already, and they needed more mobility at that position. They needed somebody who could escape pressure and try to help the offensive line to keep the offense afloat. And granted, unfortunately for Sam, which I thought he looked good in the first week, but unfortunately for him, he had to play Bill Belichick in his second game. And at that point, like we saw the offensive line get where he was sacked 9 times. And this is with a guy that's mobile in that New England game. They had -2 yards not because Sam Ehlinger was bad,
Well,
because they
you're a
couldn't.
mobile
I mean, he
quarterback
wasn't.
Because they couldn't protect the quarterback. They couldn't even run the ball.
But just because you're mobile doesn't mean you know how to use your mobility either, though.
Yeah, which I actually have some breakdowns on Sam Ehlinger on my Twitter page, by the way. If you're interested in that. But and then at that point, Frank was fired, and they brought in Jeff, and they were thinking, hey, like, if we're able to get this offensive line at least average, right? If we're even just average, just not like the worst in the NFL, then maybe Matt has a chance. And so they simplified a lot of stuff along that offensive line. They got rid of the complex, which, to Frank's credit, whenever you're not trapping out a guy like Matt Pryor, or you have a left tackle that's, not a rookie and, has only played in a handful of games, you can run the type of stuff that Frank wants to run. And it's some of the most beautiful run blocking you'll ever watch. Like, it really is like poetry in motion. Like, it is phenomenal. It's very similar to, what Kyle Shanahan does with his run blocking, or now Mike McDaniel down in Miami, and Doug Peterson there. Like, you see it now in Jacksonville with ETN. And it helped Jonathan Taylor become the best running back in the league last year. So, I mean, like, it's effective when you have the personnel, which is not Frank Wright's fault. But where Frank Wright did mess up, and you can kind of say, like, this is kind of a fault, I guess, like, to an extent, is he believed in his guys too much. That is a fault. You can believe in guys too much by always wanting to see the good in them and not able to look at it from, the proper context of, hey, man, like, I know we believe in this guy and I really want to do well, but maybe he just fucking sucks. Like, I mean, like, just being blunt. Like, maybe he's just not what we need at this position. So maybe we need to make this change. And he refused to make the proper adjustment. That's on Frank. It really is. Like, now, I'm not saying the offensive line total is on Frank, because it's not. Personnel issues were absolutely not his fault. But like, whenever guys are struggling like that, you need to take a step back and say, hey, we're not executing. Can we get back to the basics and just execute at a normal, like, at an acceptable level? Basic concepts. And that's what Jeff Saturday did. And it worked. Like, imagine that. Like, you get it to where guys just aren't fucking thinking constantly, and they're having to do stuff that they're not comfortable doing.
Do you think Jeff Saturday single-handedly went back to that concept?
I think he absolutely mandated it. Yeah, I do. 100%. 100%.
I will say one thing too. He did give a lot of praise to his assistant coaching.
Yeah,
as well. And
Mark Frazier, I mean, like, stepping into that offensive coordinator role and calling the plays, never called a game in his life.
Yep.
First game he ever called in the NFL. Did a fucking awesome job.
I wish him nothing but best. Like, my problem's not with Jeff Saturday. Actually, I really like Jeff Saturday. My argument is he doesn't have the experience, but at the same time, I get it too.
He's got plenty of experience.
As a head coach, that's what I'm referring to. Like, he has NFL experience, and I do think that you guys are right on the fact that they've given these recycled head coaches multiple opportunities to continue to fail. My issue is with Irsay and how you don't know what you're going to get week by week with the guy. And to me, that's not a way to stabilize already a bad situation. It's going to progressively get worse.
I think Irsay wouldn't look as bad as he does. Just outside looking in, I think Irsay wouldn't look as bad as he does if he just wouldn't talk so fucking much.
He's becoming Jerry Jones.
Like he just
And I keep repeating myself, but it's literally you hear
here's the difference.
You say as much as you do Jerry Jones.
Yeah. See, there's the thing. You just hear about him. You're like
because he's out there, Landon. Like he is literally out there. He's becoming that outspoken.
Here's the difference in Jim Irsay and Jerry Jones. Jim Irsay knows he's not the smartest guy in the room, and he wants to hire people that's smarter than him. Jerry Jones, on the contrary, thinks he knows fucking everything, and he will die to prove that he does. That's the difference. Jim Irsay knows he doesn't know it. Like that's why he brings in smart people to help him figure out how to make a bad situation.
You don't think Jerry tries to bring in smart people to
help?
No,
Jerry Jones' son runs his. It's the vice president of team operations.
Well, Jeff Saturday's the head coach in the NFL.
That's more.
They're hiring people they know off the streets, man. That's the point.
Jerry Jones
give a shit who, the NFL. I don't care who the vice president of yada yada is. I'm talking about like head coaches and things like that. People that are actually involved.
No, he does. But who's the GM of the Cowboys?
Jerry Jones is owner and
who's
GM.
The GM of the Colts?
I think
Chris Ballard. It's not Jim Irsay.
I think the GM of the Colts is one of the people that the coach. I don't understand why he's getting such a free pass.
He's not. That's why Jeff Saturday was brought in.
How is he not getting a free pass? We spent all this time talking about Frank and talking about Jim. We ain't talked about Chris Ballard.
Chris Ballard's responsible for the roster is currently built.
I've said personnel issues were the problem.
Maybe on like another show or something, but we've spent no time talking about Chris Ballard tonight.
That's what I mean by personnel issues were a problem. I'm talking about the guy who makes the decisions on personnel, which is Chris Ballard. That's more to blame. He's more to blame than Frank Reich was.
Yeah, absolutely he is. And that's what I don't understand. Like he gets this pass.
Chris Ballard's no longer the man in charge of SG.
He's like this NFL
he's
draft.
Not in charge of it.
He's like this NFL draft genius or some shit. And he's like,
well, he does. He is a damn good drafter. Where Chris Ballard
in positions where it doesn't matter anymore.
Where Chris Ballard has messed up is to that point.
He's building a team built for the 1980s.
Exactly. It's his inability to evolve his thought processes with
like nobody gives a shit if you can draft running backs and inside linebackers.
He's also got that mindset that I'm smarter than everyone else. Kyle Shanahan.
He absolutely does.
Yes.
He absolutely does. Which is why
he's very
which is why he's not making decisions anymore.
Jim Irsay is.
For now, until the end of the season, whenever they fire or not fire, but whenever they go through the interim.
I disagree. I think the writing's on the wall that Jim Irsay is about to run this franchise.
I disagree. When Jim Irsay does not hire a GM,
he may hire a GM, but it will be an interim GM, and Jim Irsay will be running the organization.
He's going to give those guys every chance possible to not fuck up before he steps in. The same thing he did for Chris Ballard, the same thing he did for Frank Reich, same thing he did for Ryan fucking Grigson and Chuck Pagano. He gave them every goddamn chance before he stepped in.
Well, the times they are a-changing.
I think the Eagles are going to bounce back and win this game.
I think the Eagles are going to win this ball game. Although I do think there's a shot. I think there's a shot for the Colts.
I don't think you guys have a shot. I'm gonna be honest, and this could be one of those things where it gets clipped and thrown on the internet because I said that. But I'm not saying it's the Raiders, but like because the Colts and the Raiders were both bad teams, but the Raiders defense that you guys ran into is like one of the worst defenses I can remember watching in a long time. And even with the struggles the Eagles run defense is having right now, they are playing on two different planets in terms of the defense they played on Sunday this past week versus the defense they're about to play this week. It's night and day. And again, I'm not taking anything away from the Colts win this past week because the Colts also were a bad team coming into that game.
Well, the Colts have a damn good defense.
They do have a good defense.
They do.
I don't disagree with that.
It's been the one consistent thing.
The only big issue the Colts have had really the whole season has just been the offensive line play. If the offense,
I don't think your pass catchers are it still.
We don't have. I mean, we just don't have the guys. We have Pittman.
I don't think about timing.
In tight end situations bad.
Yeah, I think Granson's okay, but
like
Cox is not in.
I just
there's not
Alec Pierce is really damn good.
Jonathan Taylor's been banged up all year.
Really
I mean, there's a lot
of things. I don't want to hear that. We were just praising.
Good.
We were just praising Alec Pierce
because I had low expectations for him, not because I think he's really damn good. You're overshooting a little bit now. He is a good player.
Yeah.
But whenever your wide receiver room is Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Paris Campbell,
I think those are good players.
They're fine.
I mean, Philly just lost Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I saw that.
Big loss. So.
That is a big loss. I got the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I mean, I
didn't mean to laugh like that. It was just funny how Jared just nonchalantly.
I just said I've got the Eagles.
I know you did. It was nothing about the pick. It was just how Jared delivered it. His delivery was funny to me.
Ryan, I love you.
I
pray to God Jeff Saturday wins out, brother.
I got the Eagles.
But I mean, even if Jeff Saturday doesn't win out, I mean, he's in a tough.
He's not going.
He's in a tough.
I don't.
He was brought in more.
I don't. It's a great opportunity for anybody. I just worry about the direction of Jim Irsay and what he is capable of doing next, because like he's literally everything is based off emotion right now with him, and there's no telling what you're going to see next. There's really not.
I think you guys have kind of hit a lull now. Like I think at least for this season, you've seen everything you're going to see until the off season. That's outside looking in. That's what
I agree.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But this off season should be one.
It's going to be interesting,
guys. Though
moves will be made. I will promise you that. Moves will be made.
I would be surprised if they weren't.
What did I tell you the other day, Drew? I said, man, I picked a really fucking interesting time to start covering this team.
Yeah, you sure did,
man.
It's one of the more carousel seasons for that organization. They're normally the last couple of years have been rocky, but outside of that, they've always been a very consistent, like, well-ran organization.
Oh, imagine that.
And now I don't know if they're in that category at this very moment.
It's easy to have stability whenever you have Peyton Manning at quarterback.
Even without
a quarterback.
Even in some bad situations.
You guys haven't been stable since Luck, which is it's completely normal.
That's normal. Yeah.
Completely normal to lose a generational quarterback
young
7 hours before the season kicks off. Like it's very normal for that to throw. Like any franchise would struggle to recover from that.
But they've had their opportunities.
Yeah, they've had time now. You know, like it's not like the Luck thing.
Now we're in year 6 of them being able to choose their own quarterbacks. And
exactly.
Make their own moves, and things are getting worse and worse. So guess who finally has to step in and try to clean the fucking mess up? That damn erratic owner, just not wanting to waste his money anymore.
He's running out. They're running out of fossils to put it behind center, man.
All right, let's go to.
Can we skip over the next couple of matchups? Because like this is, I'm just going to
go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just throw them up there and let's pick them. Throw them up there and let's pick them.
Jets.
Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
I got the Jets.
I got the Jets too. All right.
Oh God.
I got Washington. As much shit as I talk, the Texans are awful.
Commanders. I'm actually rooting for the Texans in this though.
Oh yeah, I am too, because I have this newfound hatred for the Commanders apparently. So I will also be rooting for the Texans. But this game,
man, they just got Benjamin. Man, let's go Texans.
I like Terry McLaurin. Take the Commanders.
Well, so here's the thing though about this shit, real quick. Nobody throws on the Texans because you don't have to, because their run defense is so fucking awful and their offense is so awful. You never have to play catch up. So
Davis Mills is not good.
Antonio
This feels
Gibson,
is terrible.
Antonio
He's
Gibson,
not
and
playing
Brian, Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson are about to have 100 fucking carries this weekend, and the Commanders are probably going to win 17-10 or something. Like that might be overshooting it. This is the worst game of the week. These two games right here, Jets and Patriots and Commanders Texans. What the fuck?
I can't
Why?
watch.
Why?
The Patriots offense is so bad, man.
And so is the Jets.
Bad. Yes.
No Elijah Vera Tucker, no Brees Hall. The Jets that fucking what's
Their
the
defense is really good.
the mom fucker is
Patriots
not
defense
good at
is
quarterback.
solid.
What's his name? Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson ain't it.
The mom.
I couldn't think of his name. Zach Wilson ain't it.
No, he's mom fucker from here on out.
Yeah.
His name is no longer Zach Wilson.
Yeah, he's no longer Zach Wilson.
Like these two games are gross. Like that's a terrible slate. Like holy shit, man. Jets, Pats, Commanders, Texans. Moving on to another gross game. Fuck this game too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You thought the Rams offense was fucking miserable to watch before. Oh,
Wait till Cooper Kupp's out.
Oh, brother, let me introduce you to a Rams offense without Cooper Kupp. And Matthew Stafford's still technically in the concussion protocol. I wouldn't expect him to
baby.
Oh, my God.
He was wide receiver one even when Kupp was out there last week.
Yeah, Ben Skoranek truly might be the most important receiver to that team now.
Van Jefferson.
Not only that, man.
Van Jefferson didn't even get on the field until Kupp got hurt.
He lost two more offensive linemen.
Oh, they're just fucking. They're pulling people out the stands at this point.
That's fucking insane.
They're just like, hey, raise your hand if you're over 300 pounds, and they just grab somebody out the stands and they throw a jersey on them and they put them out there.
Fucking Joey Diaz out there with a hot dog in his mouth.
The fucking mayor of Flavortown come in and play.
Bring me a Diet Coke.
Because I'm a degenerate, I played the afternoon slate because I was already just irate with the main slate not playing Justin Fields in DFS, and literally my quarterback options on that afternoon slate was I don't even remember who the Rams quarterback was. Who was he?
John Wolford.
Colt
McCoy. Sam Ellinger before the Matt Ryan news broke 2 minutes before fucking kickoff. And Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr options at quarterback.
And Dak Prescott.
If you turn on my Twitter notifications, you would have known Matt Ryan was starting about 20 minutes before that game.
20 minutes before.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, apparently I don't know if Jameis Winston fucked the head coach's wife or what.
He's done too.
I don't understand. I don't know why we're still trotting Andy Dalton out there. I don't get it.
I saw something like, do you remember that scene of Step Brothers where like they're in that job interview with Seth Rogen?
Yeah.
I saw something where they said after Andy Dalton throws another interception, and then it shows Seth Rogen in that scene. And it says, "Yeah, now the red hair is kind of fucked up." I was like, "Yeah, that's a good one."
I don't get Jameis back out there, man.
I want ball, man.
Like,
I need Flamus.
Give me 2020 Flamus for the rest of the year.
30-30, baby.
Yeah, that's all I want. Give me fucking clear eyes, Jameis Winston, for the rest of the season, and let's ride, man. Like,
and they're not dead yet, are they?
No, the Saints aren't. I mean, well, their season probably is over.
Technically, nobody in the NFC is dead.
Yeah, anybody can make a run.
Or the AFC East.
Anybody in the NFC could make a run, I guess.
The only team in both Easts, the NFC and the AFC East, that's not in the playoffs right now are the Commanders, and they're 5-5. Every other team that plays in the NFC or AFC East are in the playoffs.
That's crazy.
That's wild, man.
It's nuts. All 4 teams in the AFC East.
Yeah. If I don't see Jameis Winston and Desmond Ridder as starting quarterbacks in the NFL soon, I'm gonna lose my shit, man. I'm going to do it. I'm gonna lose it. But perfectly fine if the Saints want to trot out Andy Dalton for one more week. I'm good with that. I think that's one of the.
It matters.
No, this game's gross. It sucks.
I don't know how the Rams are going to score points anymore, man.
Bro, the offense is it's shot. It's
they can't run.
Cooper Kupp with the offense,
and they lost Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, they have no running game that exists. Their passing game was fucking Cooper Kupp's over there somewhere.
Yeah,
call Andrew Whitworth to be your offensive line coach.
Be your head coach.
I haven't
Kurt Warner be their head coach.
I haven't seen it yet, but I promise you, there's somebody out there calling for Sean McVay's head right now.
It's not all. It's not his fault, man.
No, that team's in fucking shambles. Which
you mean coaches look bad when players play bad?
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
How crazy is that?
Weird Al Yankovic, I know. Yeah, his play calling has been a little bit suspect at times, but the reality is he's trying to get creative.
They can't stretch the field, man. They can't block. No matter who's behind center, they can't get them any time to throw the ball down the field.
No, so we don't need to spend any more.
Really, they're hard to watch, Drew. Like they're a tough team to watch.
You're telling me. I put myself through this every week this season, and I didn't think it could get worse. But
this is your penance for a Super Bowl title.
Every single week, that's what I tell myself too, man. It's like every single week, I'm like, man, could you imagine how bad this Rams season would be if they didn't win the Super Bowl last year? Like, just picture that with me for a second. Picture the Bengals win the Super Bowl last year. The Rams don't get the job done, and then 2022 happens. Can you imagine?
Think about where we were before week 1 in all of our predictions.
I had the Rams back in the Super Bowl.
Where we're currently at right now. Packers are under 500. The Rams are, the Bucks are 500. They just got to 500. The Rams are.
The Bucks are the only one that's actually looking like they might be okay.
They're starting to get their defense.
The Bucks is
Tom Brady's 2-0 since that divorce.
That man is truly married to the game.
No,
he's the GOAT officially. If he wasn't already the GOAT, if you sacrificed your wife and children for the game, you deserve all accolades.
He is married to the game.
It's just further proof your girl's holding you back.
Don't let him hold you back from your best life, King.
Do it.
Do your thing, Tom.
Do your
thing.
Oh my God! Yeah, that Tom's different, man.
Hey man, different. You see, she's already back out dating
with her jiu-jitsu
instructor.
Look, if that shit's true, that ain't no back out dating. That shit's been on the cards for a minute. If it's her instructor, he been doing a lot more than instructing.
He's been instructing something.
Yeah, he been instructing a lot more than some yoga or whatever the fuck he was hired to do.
Tom probably don't give a shit. As long as he can go out there on Sunday, he don't care what's going on.
Always a backup plan.
Tom's like, man, I got touchdowns to throw. I don't give a fuck about what you doing.
Yeah, I got some record I haven't already broke at this point.
There's always a backup.
Yeah, I got the TB12 I got to worry about. I can't give a fuck about you.
I think, like, we're
that avocado ice cream. It's time to get to work.
The word erratic's been thrown around a whole lot, but I know addiction is a real thing. I sit here and vape pretty much for an hour and 48 minutes now.
He's thinking of Jim Irsay.
I'm thinking of my boy Tom Brady. I think he may have a problem. I really do think, like,
oh yeah, he does.
He's gonna need counseling, like, in order to leave football.
Yeah, whenever he finally has to hang it up. Yeah. But yeah, I've got the Saints in this game.
I'm gonna take the Saints.
I have no idea how the Rams move the ball without Cooper Kupp. I really don't.
Yeah,
Fire up the Saints defense this weekend. That's all I can tell you.
It's the Saints.
Thank fucking God they won the Super Bowl last year, bro.
Now, can you imagine too? Like, and plus, like, you don't have a first round pick either. That's going to Detroit. So I mean, like, it's kind of crazy.
Right, it's a top 10 pick right now.
Is it really?
It's a top 10 pick. Right, I think right now the Rams would be picking 8 overall.
Wow.
That's
And,
crazy.
and you know what?
Worth every fucking
I
penny.
still don't give a fuck. Fuck
Worth-
that pick.
Worth every single penny, ain't it? Man,
I've just been looking
crazy
at
to think,
a
though,
picture
man.
of the Super Bowl ring over and over.
Crazy to think, like going into the season though, like we're like, oh man, they added Allen Robinson. Like,
I wasn't sold on that. Me personally, I think Allen Robinson's toast. But...
Well, and Allen Robinson hasn't even been. I mean, granted, he's underperformed, but he hasn't been the problem. The
no,
problem.
but I'm saying is like the whole like going into the season, we were like, oh yeah, like here the Rams gonna be competing again.
And if their offensive line would have been what it should have been, they would have been okay. But
I mean, look,
offensive line play is so fucking important.
Both LA, like, what do they got going on in LA? Man? Both LA teams are just like.
Well, the Lakers been bad for a little bit now. If that's what you're referring to.
No, I'm talking about the Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers.
They lost. Did you see they cut Jerry Tillery like this week, and then they lost both of their defensive tackles in this game last night.
Yeah, they came out of the game with like 2 defensive linemen that were healthy.
That's their problem. Is they can't stay healthy.
That's the Rams' problem.
But yeah, that's a new problem for the Rams. This shit,
Chargers has been ongoing.
It's
every year,
rinse, wash, repeat for the Chargers. Like they should have been fired.
I'm talking about I remember going back to high school, like it's like 05, like 06 Chargers, and like it's the same shit, man. Like,
yeah, I mean it literally is. It's a pattern. Something
their strength and conditioning coach stabbed Tyrod Taylor, and he still got a job.
Yeah.
Well, he also gave him Justin Herbert, so.
Addition, not subtraction, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like they probably gave that guy a raise, like
that. Yeah, actually, that guy probably they probably knew that Herbert was the guy, so they were like, they probably slid him a little bit. Actually, like, hey, you should shoot him up on somewhere else on accident, wink, wink.
Think about at the beginning of the year.
I feel a little.
Look at the teams that are currently in the playoff hunt right now. You have the Jets.
Everybody.
You have the Giants. The Seahawks are winning their division currently, which they may win that. Well, no, 49ers are winning that division. The Seahawks could make the playoffs.
The Fraud-Niners.
Yeah, I don't know the 49ers.
And they didn't look good against the Chargers either. I mean, they struggled.
49ers are frauds.
But I mean, the NFL, like you just don't know anymore. Like I know you picked the Vikings to win that division, but I didn't think they'd be 8-1. I sure as hell didn't think the Packers would be as bad as what they are.
Go Vikings, baby! Oh yeah.
I think it's time.
Ice me out, Kirk. Let's go.
We put some respect on their name for sure.
Let's go, Kirk. That's one. That's in a world where I get so many things wrong. Kirk Cousins is making me look so fucking smart.
Oh, I love Kirk Cousins. My only problem with the Vikings was their offensive and defensive lines. And now that both of those units are fucking
that D line's a problem.
Oh, that offensive line too, man. Like
Christian Darisaul's nice.
Think about what they did. They made a 362. They were the team last year that lost so many close games, and now they're the team.
Now they're winning them all. Yep.
The law of averages.
And they're not just winning them. They came back. They were down to the Bills. Like they were down. And
that game should never went to overtime because Gabe Davis did not make that catch either. Let's face it. He did not make that catch.
We all picked the Saints, right? We clean sweep this one. We got one more. We got one more.
Jesus.
And apparently it's going to be a snowball. I don't know if you guys have seen the weather reports, but Buffalo is supposed to get filled up with snow. And so I think that actually makes this game a little bit more interesting because I think that the Browns are, with their run game and things, I think they're built to play in a situation like that.
They also can't stop the run either. No matter who's running.
That's true.
For an opposing team.
Well, Josh Allen's running in this one.
Yeah. Josh Allen, running back 1, quarterback 1.
I want to make
Evan Singletary did play well this past weekend, though.
So here's my point why Buffalo is very irritating. Beginning of that game, they had a 17-point lead going into the fourth quarter with a minute left in the third quarter. They completely abandoned the run.
They abandoned the run.
With Singletary scoring touchdowns and basically picking up chunk yards on every time he touched the ball, they completely went away from that formula. Like, I don't get it. I get you got Josh Allen, you got these weapons. You have a 17-point lead at home in a game where it's raining and snowing, and you're out there throwing it on every fucking play. It makes no sense whatsoever.
And your quarterback has an injury on top of that. Like, he's playing for injury.
They make no sense, man. Like, Buffalo's going to probably – I mean, they're going to win that division, but until they get it right, I don't have faith in them. I just don't. I feel like they're one of those teams that they're going to get close, and then it's going to come down to one or two plays, and they just don't get there.
That injury is like – that worries me a little bit.
And he was out there slinging that shit.
Yeah.
Some of the throws that Josh Allen made in that game, I was like, man.
It's a 17-point lead.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Like, in Leadus, I was so amazed at how well, like, he made some bad decisions in the red zone, but I was so amazed at how well he looked, considering the fact that he was playing through that injury. Like, I expected him to come out and look like early in the game, he scrambled for a first down and just like lowered his shoulder. Like, he was a couple yards short, lowered his shoulder on a couple defenders and picked up the first down. It's like, dude, like, you're supposed to be hurt, you know?
On the first interception too. On the first interception as well, when he tried to make the tackle, I thought he was hurt again. I think he was more pissed off. But I know what you mean, though, the way he was laying on the field for a while. I mean, that's your season right there. This is your guy. Like, he's your bread and butter, and you've got a 17-point lead with an injured quarterback at home in weather conditions, and you abandon a run.
Yeah, they should have done more to protect Josh, because he's not going to protect himself. Like, if you put him in a position where he can throw constantly, to where he can scramble, he's going to do it. Like, they should have run the ball more and protected Josh Allen from himself, because the dude's a gamer. He's a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna take that initiative to.
No, he's bulldozing people.
Yeah, like, he's not gonna take plays off. He's just not gonna do it. The dude's a baller. He's a beast. But I do think the weather could make this game more interesting, though, because I mean, Cleveland obviously has an incredible run game. And you know, this is gonna be, if the snow and things comes like projected, it's going to be run the football central. Yep. And so Cleveland could possibly make this game interesting. But with that being said, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills.
I don't see how the Bills lose 3 straight.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
If they do, then maybe there's an issue with Buffalo.
I mean, there's a lot of season left. There's no issues in 3 weeks.
No, honestly, whenever I watch the Buffalo Bills, they remind me a whole lot of the Rams last year. I don't know if you guys remember, but around this point in the season, last season, the Rams dropped a game to the Titans on primetime.
Oh, yeah.
They struggled against a couple other teams. They dropped a few games. They lost like 2 or 3 games right at this point in the season after starting out extremely hot, the same way the Bills did. Like, these two teams are almost mirroring each other in terms of how their seasons are progressing right now to this point. The Bills got all the pieces.
Here's the thing, though, man. Here's the thing. If they play in Kansas City, I don't think they can get it done in the playoffs.
I hope that they do have to play in Kansas City, because I want to see them exercise those demons one way or another. Like, however it shakes out, whatever. I would love to see them have the opportunity to exercise those demons, and I hope it goes to overtime too.
Well, now both teams get a shot, so
exactly. That's why I wanted to go to overtime.
Yeah,
that game was still going on.
Is that a pretty good rule there? You think that's a good rule?
That's good.
It should be a rule for the regular season too, not just the postseason. I think it's.
You know who suggested that rule?
Jim Ironic.
I'm pretty sure the Bills tried to get that rule in the year before and got shut down.
Exactly. They just can't get it done like Big Jim.
Yeah, Jim's got pulled with the owners.
You know who's getting Dan Snyder the fuck out of Washington? Jim.
He's getting more vocal, baby. He's becoming that celebrity. It's happening.
That's one good thing about.
Jim Irsay getting all the headlines.
cleaning that league up.
It's one good thing about all your dirt already being out there is you ain't got to worry about other owners trying to blackmail you or anything.
Yeah. What are you gonna say about Jim Mercy that hasn't already been said?
All my shit's already out there in the air. Like I wish you would try to blackmail me.
Undisputed's got Jerry Jones. What's the next Fox Sports show? They could pick up Jim Irsay, basically.
Oh man, imagine a talk show with Jim Irsay and Jerry Jones on it.
I wouldn't want to tune in with Jerry, but
I
tune into what Jim says every fucking day.
I would tune in with them two going at it with each other. 100%.
That'd be wonderful.
If they were going at it, then yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like
I don't think they would go at it though.
Undisputed NFL or owners version.
I got a feeling, man. I got a feeling Irsay at some point would just throw hands. Like,
there's nothing. Never mind. There's nothing less appealing to me than old people. There's nothing less appealing to me than old people fighting each other. That just
former professional power lifter Jim Irsay.
Who is still old as shit now, and that just doesn't like that. At that point, I'm like, man, do I want to watch old people fight each other, or do I want to watch the WNBA? Like, none of it sounds good.
I'd rather watch old people fight each other.
Although, hey, shout out Indiana Fever, #1 overall pick.
Who's that?
It's the Indiana.
Is it the G League?
No, it's the WNBA team for Indiana.
Oh, that's still a thing.
It is. Subsidized by the NBA.
As long as the NBA keeps paying for it, it will be.
Yeah, I'm happy, man. That's pretty cool. I'll be rooting for the Fever.
I mean, I like to feel good. I don't want no fever.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to stay away from the fever.
I'm ready for the vaccines.
Never mind. I'm not gonna get into that. I'll tell you that. All right. Well, I guess we're 2 hours in.
Yeah. We got to cut this shit out.
We'll be back tomorrow night, though. We'll finish up things. It won't go this long tomorrow night because we had a lot to get through that we missed last week. But I'm excited to talk some more football with you guys, man. I missed last week. This was always good, and if you haven't already, please, I don't know if anybody's watching this, but go ahead and subscribe. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Let us, try to entertain you with funny adjectives. And
I mean, if you did make it through the full 2 hours, I'd be willing to bet you were at least entertained through most of it.
Oh yeah, it definitely. Yeah, it's not dull.
No,
for sure.
We're not sitting here fucking.
In reality, man, we could go another 2 hours.
I think that this is gonna happen this week.
Yeah. Or we can get in here and say, this is the biggest tragedy the NFL has ever seen. It's such an egregious thing that Jeff Saturday was hired. I've just never been so offended about anything in my life.
Shaquille O'Neal making a surprise appearance. you sound like Shaq.
It's just like this. That's Shaquille O'Neal. It's just so egregious. It's the most disrespectful thing that I've ever witnessed in the NFL. Go Cleveland Browns this week. Let's go Browns. I'm really looking forward to the Browns playing this week. Jeff Saturday is the worst thing that the NFL has ever seen. Go Browns. I'm really excited about the Browns this week.
Fuck Joe Thomas for real. Like,
ridiculous.
Fuck that guy.
Go Browns.
Does he do talk radio?
Yeah, he's a fucking.
Yeah, he's on there with I believe the Angry Runs guy that gets offended about everything. Good morning football.
Joe Thomas and Kyle Brandt really are just like.
Kyle Brandt, he's erratic too. It's the word of the night.
Those guys fucking suck, man.
I miss Kay Adams. Once Kay left, man, that show
went to shit.
By the way,
Peter Schrager is trying so hard to hold that shit.
He is, man. I feel so bad for Pete.
He can't do it, man. He's trying so hard.
Is she FanDuel now?
She is.
FanDuel?
Up in Adams.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, go watch Kay Adams, who had a fantastic interview the other day, by the way, with who was it? Was it Ryan Clark maybe that she had on there? I don't know. I have to look. But she's awesome, man. I love Kay Adams.
Yeah, she's legit.
So,
Her and Mina Kimes are like two like
I love Mina too.
I was gonna
they're
say,
like
I'm a
they're like
Mina
two of the
fan.
best things that's happening on TV right now, man.
Yeah, and I don't even watch any of it really, but I'll tune into what those two are doing. Dan Orlovsky too. By the way, well, this is
ESPN like outside of like the morning show bullshit. ESPN has some nice people in place now for like some of their afternoon stuff and like Dan Marcus Spears,
Jeff Saturday
before he left.
Noted TV analyst Jeff
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah,
In
case you hadn't heard, Jeff Saturday was a TV analyst.
That's it.
But
what happened to the last ESPN analyst that became a head coach?
Dan Orlovsky.
Who was the last?
Oh, Jeff
John
Saturday.
Gruden.
Jeff Saturday and Gruden aren't even on the
John
same.
Gruden. What if they find a
Gruden
bunch of stuff on Jeff Saturday, man? Like this
Gruden,
could be like this could be the biggest tragedy in NFL history, gentlemen.
The biggest difference is Gruden's a shitbag, and Jeff Saturday's actually a good person.
Oh, I don't think it will.
Yeah, I'm pretty much.
I'm looking for the biggest NFL tragedy take that we could possibly do here.
Yeah, no, you're not going to get that with Jeff Saturday because he's not a complete dirtbag of a person. So, like, you're good on that part. Like, you don't have to worry about
praises. I hope he succeeds, man. I really do.
Like that. At the core of things, that's what makes everything okay. Is Jeff Saturday is just a great guy. He's a breath of fresh air, and John Gruden is like China air, just polluted to fuck. So, we're living on two different planets with those guys.
You know who failed and got multiple chances as a head coach?
John Gruden.
He sure did.
He also
but he did win that one Super Bowl that he inherited that team from, though. Where he basically just got to.
Who did he inherit that team from?
Tony Dungy.
Who learned under Tony Dungy?
Hey, and Tony Dungy is a TV analyst now.
Yeah. Who learned and played under
That's
Tony
another
Dungy?
guy. Fuck.
Tony Dungy's on my shit list, so.
That's
he doesn't like sports gaming or sports betting or anything.
Tony Dungy should never went on TV. I started liking Tony Dungy less the more I have to listen to him on TV. Like I used to like you a lot more before I had to fucking listen to you every night on the weekends.
He does not like the.
He's a very Christian man. His beliefs.
Well, I mean,
can't all be degenerates.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
And yes, we should.
Everybody needs something.
As long as they get key to play.
He might enjoy a Mai Tai every night or something. Everybody's got to have a little bit of something.
Mai Tai.
He has a Mai Tai, and I play Johnny Mutt. That's a fun tight-end option.
We are not the same.
We share different views in life.
Oh, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Tune in. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Go follow all three of us on Twitter. Let's see you guys tomorrow night.